And now it's time for Photo Booth Live Chat with John Young. Good evening and welcome to Wednesday night here on BBN TV. I'm John Young. I'm your host tonight. Tonight we are going to be talking about managing your photo booth business. Judd, would that be a good way for us to describe tonight?
Sure. I like that. I think that's about right.
I think that. We got Judd here from Check Cherry. And if a lot of you have had a chance to check that out at Photo Booth Expo, which if you watch the little preview things, that's what we were talking about tonight, is Photo Booth Expo coming up in February of 2020, February 24th through the 27th. You guys can go and check that out at the thephotoBoothExpo.com and find out more information. We'll talk more about that later. Judd, let's kind of dig into this a little bit. As I'm talking to more photo booth people, and they're really kind of getting into it, and they're having success, and they're expanding, and they're finding out that there's more things that they have to be dealing with than just going and filling in a contract and handing that paper to.
Right.
Yeah. You talk to a lot of photo booth and disc DJs with Check Cherry. What are some of the things you're hearing that is bringing them to needing a service like Check Cherry?
Well, I think when somebody comes to us and they're not using anything other than email and maybe Google Calendar or something of that nature, I think the email communication can get confusing. Who's doing what did they order? What add-ons do they have? Where's the backdrop selection? What template did they get? And just a lot of pieces just in different places, so to speak. So something like a Check Cherry brings that all in one place, and it's convenient to access, basically, and also gives them tools that the client can select a template, that type of thing. But I think that there's, even at the very basic level of just sending a professional proposal. Right. And that's, from doing it in Word or Excel to be able to just, hey, here it is, click a couple buttons, e-sign, pay a deposit. It really makes you look more professional.
And is this something that when a person is moving from, I'm using my email and maybe creating a Google Doc, whatever, I'm just doing some basic things, to move into a system which is going to be able to help me manage my business, is there a lot of learning curve with this, or how difficult is it to get into?
So we really focus with Check Cherry on being easy to use. So when you set up an account, there's a number of defaults already put in there, packages, all that stuff, and you just basically modify it from there. So we've had people be up and running, integrated literally within an hour. So it's been really fast. Obviously, you need to have your packages lined up. You need to have your policies and kind of what you want. That's some of it. Images for your add-ons, images for your packages. That can take time if you don't already have those things. But really, it's an easy to use system and easy to get up and running with. Can be like the piano, right? Easy to get started, and then the more and more you get into it, and then what you need and what you want, and
And when you want to become more proficient at it, it becomes really difficult really quickly.
Yeah. So, but we really value easy to use software. So I think with a Check Cherry, but it's going to vary, right, in terms of the depth that the software uses, everywhere from something like an Infusionsoft, which can do a lot of things and is very general purpose, to something a little bit more specific to a niche like Check Cherry. It's going to be easier.
So there are people who have come in and they've been hemming and hawing, okay, I've been using paper and clipboard type of method. They make the they jump into a system like CheckCherry where it's now being somewhat automated, somewhat, more
Mm-hmm.
cohesive. What kind of feedback have you heard from people once they've made that step? Have they talked about?
So it's funny. I got a chat 2 months ago, and it was from a customer of ours, and she was just basically like, a customer sent in a note 2 days after their wedding that was like, "Oh, you guys were so easy to deal with. I didn't have to confirm anything with you guys. Everything was just done. It was just a breeze. I loved that I could go on your website and book you online." And she was just thrilled with the process, basically. The pre-sale leading up to it, the follow-up. And I think that common sense automation can really lend itself to a great client experience, right? So I'm not a fan of like over automating things and having computers do your sales job per se, but I think we like to think of like CheckCherry as a sweet spot for business automation and client management. I think what that means is it's automation that benefits both the client and the business. And so, like automatically generating an invoice, who loses on that?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. The client gets it right away. The business doesn't have to do it. So stuff like that.
So you mentioned, Judd, that particular feedback from that bride was the ability to go and easily, basically, book things online.
Yep.
Have you guys seen more of that? I mean, this is something that, as I've been looking at the world, and it's like, we're in Amazon. I want to buy it and be done with it.
The Ubers, the clicks.
Yeah, I want to do it from my app. And
so CheckCherry was really originally built, like primarily what we offered was self-service booking. And that was just really, we didn't even have a proper proposal feature when we first came out. Now we do. But we basically, we firmly believe that there are a lot of customers who prefer to start doing business with you without calling you, basically, or
Right.
emailing you. And I think that there's a competitive advantage to showing customers some stuff, like some packages, like some pricing, to get them started in the process, for example. That being said, I don't think it's for everybody. I don't think it's for every business, and I don't think it's for every customer, right? If I'm a high-end operation and I do specific corporate events, I mean, allowing people to just come in and book something might not work, right? Because everything's custom and specific. But I think for a lot of people, it works well. And we even have a system set up where as they're going through the booking process, if they don't complete, basically they're pricing something out, we'll send the business owner a lead. Say, hey, somebody started booking you, didn't finish. They can call them up, click that to a proposal with one click, close the sale, that type of stuff. So I think it's more and more. I think that about high 30% of bookings in CheckCherry are done self-service. So it's still less than half.
You mentioned with higher end corporate events that is probably not the greatest fit. What would be the ideal, the person who would benefit the most from the CheckCherry system as far as if you were a business owner? Kind of describe that person if you could.
Yeah, so I think a lot of our customer profile is somebody who's doing weddings, right? You could do a corporate package or something, especially if you have repeat business. Like if you're doing something that's kind of a repeatable service, so to speak, this is great. You have packages. You can, have your add-ons and upsell and test the system, that type of thing. We see a lot of people who are offering photo booth and other services, photo booth and DJ, photo booth and photography, photo booth and videography, different things like that. And so, but I think it really has to be, you have to have packages basically. So if you don't have packages, CheckCherry is really like the core of what is at CheckCherry. And what makes a lot of the features easy is it's based on packages, and we can make a number of assumptions, like the number of automated emails, maybe the forms that the customer has to fill out, different settings for the booking based on the package.
So for those, and I've got some of my DJ friends who are, anti-package. They basically are selling the one package, or this is it. So in a situation like that where they're just doing that, it may not be as effective for them, or how?
Well, I don't know. I mean, so historically, no. However, one of our biggest advocates is a CheckCherry user, and he is a higher end DJ, only does DJ, and sends proposals out basically, and customizes. It spends a lot of time customizing the questionnaires for the clients, and so it works for him. And he likes it. And when he was coming on board, there were several times. frankly, we're interested in finding people who are the right fit.
Right.
And anytime I see that, it's like, well, I don't know that you're the right fit, and so sure enough, he liked what he saw, and, he was using it. And so that was maybe 3-4 months ago. And it was the first time that we saw somebody who was what I'll call a high touch salesperson, in-person sales, really believed in that, using Check Cherry and liking it. So that was different for us.
How important is it in a system like that where you're having the contact with bride and grooms to carry that branding, logos and different things in your experience and estimation?
So I think it's important to have some type of branding so they know, who they're dealing with, that type of thing, just a comfort scenario, right? When they're in your portal, you feel more you feel more like you're a bigger company than you are, perhaps. It's more, just put you at ease, right? Reduces fear, uncertainty, and doubt, so to speak. So I think putting the branding is really important. It's something we offer where you can upload your logo and change minimal things like the color and make it feel a bit more like your brand.
How about implementing into websites? Is that something that if people are wanting to do that, how would they?
So we do have some stuff, and this is common, where you can embed certain things like a contact form, right? Like for a corporate event, I might say, hey, you just got to contact me. I don't have packages. Let's discuss this. And that can show up as a lead. There's the calendar picker. That's a popular option. Frankly, I'm not a fan of that from an online sales perspective. I think most people are not interested in availability. They're interested in the price.
Right.
I think that's a much more powerful call to action to say, hey, check my pricing or build a package or something of that nature. Most people are going to gravitate towards that as opposed to the date. But with Check Cherry also, we have you basically link over to your Check Cherry booking engine with a link, and it pops them over to a Check Cherry subdomain, and they can go through and book. And it makes it really easy for us to manage the infrastructure and the website person to integrate with clever call to actions. And again, like my favorite is putting basically pricing in your nav. Pricing, click that, send them to the booking engine, and start the process of collecting leads, giving them some information, basically starting a business relationship, so to speak, with them, as opposed to just a contact form. But again, that's not for everybody. You know what I mean? We fully understand that.
So we're collecting information and such, and you've talked a little bit about emailing and being in contact. Does the Check Cherry system have an email component built in, or is it something that?
Yeah, so you can automatically kick off emails, and we even have a feature where anything that if an email has started from Check Cherry, all future correspondence to that email is automatically logged. Basically, Check Cherry sits in the middle, and so that's great if you have a team of people working on things, because then you can check in and it's all automatically associated to that specific event. We even then show you whether the person's open, clicked, bounced, something of that nature. So it's like, hey, you owe me money, and like I saw you click on that link, where are you at? Or in our proposals, we even have a feature where it shows, if somebody viewed a proposal, we log the IP address and the location. So we had a customer that was thrilled because they were doing business with sent a proposal to an airline. And she said, oh, I could see, all of the people around the country, I could see where they were viewing. And I knew my proposal was kind of getting action and passed around, so to speak. Yeah, making the rounds.
Interesting. Yeah, that in this day and age, having that digital tracking is certainly important, I guess.
Yeah.
So packages. You've mentioned packages on for just some. If there's any kind of tips or ideas you've seen that have been more successful with, is there something like the number of options or number of packages that you would recommend for people who really have never thought about creating packages for their business?
So I think like the common advice or the kind of the safer advice would be like 3-ish packages is good, right? You have like a base rate, which is not many bells and whistles, but hey, I'm not going to go out of the house, for much more than that. And then you can work on, upselling them basically to another package. So you can anchor low and high, frankly. And so you have like the middle package being the most valuable. And so you can increase your average revenue per booking by having a base package, but a lot more attractive middle package. And then there are some customers that are going to want, top of the line. Like it's, that's the kind of customer profile I am. Not everybody is interested in the cheapest option.
Sure.
Right. I mean, they self-identify as not being, perhaps they're not, perhaps somebody else is paying, perhaps they're not price sensitive. So I think having a package that's, higher end and showing that you can offer that service and that you're ready is good.
What are your thoughts about upsells and how is that would that work?
So Yeah, I think upselling on the phone is tough, right? It's like people are not generally speaking not receptive being upsold on the phone. If you're giving them a menu of options they can see with beautiful pictures and price and no pressure from a salesperson, I'm not going to let anybody down if I pass, that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's a more modern approach towards upselling. But you're really putting the power, I guess, in the consumer's hand, the buyer's hand, for better or worse. And I would say for better in a lot of ways. And you can test and tweak and find out what's working, what's not. Why, if nobody's picking an add-on, I mean, is it worth offering? What's going on? But I think that absolutely you can upsell, and I would be very cautious of coming across as trying to upsell too much, though.
Sure.
Right? Like I don't think that that's going to come across well. If you're getting an email, get this, get this, get this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Add this, like too much. Like, sure, throw it out there, try, but be reasonable.
Yeah, and you see that when you click on the wrong ad on Facebook. Oh, you like that?
He's interested.
Well, now how about this one? Oh, before you close the window, how about this one? Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think upselling with premium, premium backdrops is something we see. I mean, the experiences but you can also upsell with packages and specific add-on services. Uplighting, I think I've seen that. That's pretty common. Idle hours is an add-on, is really common. I don't know if that's an upsell.
I think we just lost connection there for a second, Judd. I think we're back. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, we're back. We're back. I lost you. We were talking about upsells, and you mentioned the upsell with the in essence waiting time.
Yeah, idle time. Maybe that's not so much an upsell. Maybe that's more of an accommodation for a customer, right? But yeah. I mean, certainly, hey, I'll hang out for an hour or two in between, and charge you a little bit, sure.
Yeah, no, it shows that your time does have some value. We've seen that numerous times over the years where people are like, "Oh yeah, can you set it up by 2 and then we'll be back at 8 o'clock?" No, I can't. Not, at least not that way. Let's talk a little bit more about you've gotten the information from someone who came in there. They started the process. And they've abandoned, in essence, we'll call it abandon the cart at some point in time. They haven't gotten there.
Very similar.
Can a person set up something to be able to go and say, hey, we've all gotten the email now, that, hey, there's something in your cart type of thing.
Yep.
Is that?
Yeah, you can automatically kick off an email. And I think it's a nice touch, right? To see, I mean, why not, right? I mean, it's one email. Hey, I saw you started the process and didn't finish. Do you have any questions for me? That type of stuff. I think it's worth a shot. I wouldn't expect a very high success rate from it, right? I mean, I think that depends on, I guess I would look at what they're picking and choosing, right? If somebody's picking premium package, I'd probably pick up the phone, right? And talk to them. Like maybe this is somebody who's, worthwhile, that type of thing. And I think also, but it doesn't hurt. Yeah, you can certainly send an email, but I think we're in the business of automation, but I really believe, I'm a firm believer in being really human in a business and dealing with your clients, and you're in a service business. And, like I say, common sense automation is what I like personally.
Sure. And when you're talking common sense, is that having an objective at the end of what you're trying to do? Is that being courteous to the other person? Or
I would say that you don't want to come across as a robot or your cousin. You don't want to come across as impersonal, basically. It's okay if somebody owes money and you want to send out an email, like you would check you could send out an email, hey, your balance is due, because it's not been paid. To have that come and feel very automatic and robotic is probably smart, right? Because then it's not personally, I'm not personally offended that you haven't paid. It's just oh, that's just the billing system demanding some money from you. That's probably a good thing. But when it comes to a sales touch, I don't think if it comes across and feels, fake or automated, it's probably not a good thing for the customer. It's not going to come across. So I would keep things the lead follow-up. I would probably have something that would be very general. Hey, just a question, an open-ended question, super short. I saw you started, didn't finish. What happened? Or, are you still interested? Something of that nature, and just see if they bite and respond and then go from there. It wouldn't hurt to do it. I mean, I think it's, it's a reasonable touch. That would be a reasonable touch that's automated. That's not going to, feel too bad.
Sure, I get that. Yeah, person's has to walks a little bit of a line with that back and forth, but if as long as it's not overdone, I think you can. There's quite a bit of latitude of what can be
Right.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Judd, could you kind of pop up give for people who haven't had a chance to check out Check Cherry? Could you pop up a screen and kind of show us, walk us through a couple of things, just to give us an idea of what the system looks like?
Sure. Yeah.
And while you're doing that, once again, you guys can join us in February. Judd will be out with us in. Oh, hang on a sec. I've got a flip viewing option because for some reason it goes full screen. Okay, we're going to be in Las Vegas, February 24th through the 27th with Photo Booth Expo 2020, and you'll be able to come out there and you can sit down in Judd's booth and ask him questions at a level that, and he will talk you through.
Yeah.
He'll talk you through some things. But that is a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday coming up in February, and you can go to pbntv.com/tickets. PBNTV, photobooth.news.tv.com/tickets. Use the promo code PBXSHOW, PBXSHOW 2020. That's going to give you the best rate on tickets between now and the Halloween. Once it hits, we're done with Halloween. Once the candy's taken off the shelf, the price goes up. So make sure you guys get your passes before that, and you're going to be able to come out there, learn, see some really cool things, and be able to check out some great companies like Check Cherry, who will be there to answer your questions. Judd, take us through a little bit. What are we looking at here?
Sure. So we're in the Rainier Check Cherry demo account. And so if this were a regular company or a real company, they would have their own logo and matching the color, that type of stuff. We offer just a quick dashboard, the upcoming reservations, that type of stuff. But I want to go into the package management because, again, it's such a core component to what we offer. And so with Check Cherry, you can group different services. So like a photo booth service with a DJ service, and then even group those further into package groups. And so this is all helpful when you're going and sending somebody through the online booking process. So if you're a person who's high sales touch, certainly you could have one package in here. You can override things at any point after you build a proposal or something of that nature. It's very easy to do that. But if we edit a package, for example, you'll just see there's just a ton of options here when it comes to like your starting rate, what's included in the hours. If they add more hours, what's the hourly cost? What's the minimum? Do you do 30-minute increments, hour increments? Another thing that we didn't talk about is the tax, which is a huge component, and we make that so much easier with our TaxJar integration and finding the exact tax rate of the venue, the actual location, via TaxJar, and pull that in automatically to the invoice, which is nice. And of course, your deposit options, right? Is it a percentage, a flat amount, and then what's included in the package type stuff. So
Judd,
the package.
The tax part of it, is this, does this also up in Canada?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we do Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom. We are English only at this point. So
but yeah, I was just kind of curious.
Internationalized.
I know that'll be a question that will pop up here. It'll be in the chat room.
We love Canada.
Yep. So
we have customers in Canada. It's great, and the TaxJar stuff works in Canada too.
Perfect.
So that's great. And also in the U.S., it's really the taxes, as you know, it's just a mess.
It is. Yeah.
And so if you're on a state line where something's taxed in one state but not in another, you can carve all that stuff up in Check Cherry, and it really makes it easier. And then we even have, reporting where you can see the payments and then how much tax was paid, all kinds of stuff like that. So it makes it really easy on that side. Now, we're not accounting software, but like it's related to bookings, it's relevant, it's invoices, that type of stuff.
Excellent.
And so also when it comes to, so there's your package, but like, let's just say, and I guess I got this, move this down. If I was going to build a new proposal, for example.
Exactly. I was wanting to see that because we've talked about the proposal on a few occasions. I was hoping you have an example here for us.
And so it's quick. You would just say new proposal. You would pop in your date, what time it starts, how long are you proposing? You can put an expiration date on there or not. And then you can put it in one of two statuses, the proposal as date open. So in other words, if somebody books me beforehand, like this proposal is no longer valid, right? Or you could say, hey, I'm going to reserve the date for you. You're a special customer. I know they're going to book. I know they're going to sign, that type of stuff. So we could say that. And here's what's nice. You just pick a package, and then I can override things if I want, but if I don't, everything else just is assumed by that package, right?
Okay.
Whether it's taxable or not, starting rate, all kinds of stuff. If I want to create a new customer, add an existing customer, let's put him in there. And then what's the venue address? And so I'm not going to go through all.
Certainly, yeah. No, that's correct.
Address, but so then once a proposal is created, you'll have your manage proposals. And so like here would be an example. This was a Halloween party. And so you can send this link to anybody, and we have a little token in here, and that'll help them see and only them see it. And then another thing is you can't tell based on how we're looking at it, but this is really designed primarily to look great on mobile. So we think a lot of customers, when they get a proposal, they're going to be on the go, they're going to be on their phone. And so this looks really great. And I don't have a map usually gets pulled in there. I guess we must have, the Check Cherry demo account gets messed with quite a bit. So, and then the package details, this type of stuff, any add-ons that were included, a backdrop, the map, the tax, the deposit amount required. And of course, like I said, I can override all this stuff. So let's just say this is a nonprofit. I can just say, nope, it's zero tax. Let's go back to the proposal and just say, okay, Mr. Customer, go ahead and refresh your page. There's no more tax on there.
Oh, okay.
Type stuff. Or, a special customer is going to say, hey, they're going to be paying via card. So the deposit, or they're going to be paying cash, corporate client. So no deposit is required. Please just sign. We'll send a check. So then they click accept the proposal, and they could just sign here. If a deposit was required, they would also, and I guess let me go over and change that.
Sure.
You can kind of see how I'll be put to the test here. Deposit amount. So under manage event, let's say we want $100 from them. So $100, go back to the proposal. So somehow we're at 99. I don't know what just happened there, but wow. So here they would basically then put in, I wonder if it's going based on the percentage. So they would put in their card number, they would sign, and then they would agree to terms and conditions. You can upload your own terms and conditions right there. And then they would accept. After that happens, a slew of emails would be kicked out based on your preferences, right? Like maybe a booking confirmation, maybe the admins get alerted that happened. Perhaps, there's on the DJ side, we even have it where you can select talent, so to speak, a DJ, and they could be notified, that type of stuff. And so on the automation, this is what we have here. You can customize this, and this is very common in the kind of the CRM business automation world. But you can basically go through, and if it's an event, a proposal, a lead, system emails are kind of required. What do I want to do? And so, for example, like if an agreement is signed, send business owner notification when there's an e-sign. And so I can go in here and I can customize what I want that email, the subject and that type of stuff to actually happen. There's a whole slew of tokens, merge fields, variables, whatever you want to call them. And then another thing with Check Cherry, it's interesting, is everybody wants to carve things up based on packages. Oh, this email goes to these packages, but not these packages. It's very, very common. We spent a lot of time early on in Check Cherry's life offering, just basically allowing people to carve things up based on package and service. So this would apply to everything, but you can easily say, hey, this, photo booths don't get this, basically, this email, and only this. And so that's helpful. If you're doing things like, hey, or you could send yourself a reminder, hey, I haven't assigned an employee to an event yet, right? Or a staff member, or a deposit's not paid, or hey, they haven't selected a template. Let's send an email to myself or to them, that type of thing. And so the automation is pretty powerful. We also offer a Zapier integration. For those people who want to, we do have customers who want to take a deeper step when it comes to basically sales automation, and hey, customer sent this email, didn't respond, or they clicked this link. Now I want to do this. And so you can do some of that stuff with an integration with Zapier. Add-ons, pretty straightforward. You can, pick what add-ons you want to offer, And so similar again, like add-ons might apply to one thing. A scrapbook station doesn't make sense to be sent on any DJ service. So why would I offer it? Also, like maybe I might say, hey, this premium package includes it, so I'm going to uncheck that because it's going to include it in the description, right?
Sure.
And so you can basically, get an all-inclusive package or go a la carte, for more money, so to speak. And so the self-service booking side, can I hop into that? Is that
I
any
wanted
interest in
to
that? No, go ahead.
talk for a second about the credit card processing. I see that in this particular demo, you had the ability to take a credit card. Is that something that I would need to set up via my PayPal and connect that? Or is it something, how does that work?
Yep. So PayPal, Square, and Stripe are supported, and you would have your own account basically, and just connect it. We use OAuth, their Connect platform, just a couple buttons, super easy. So yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Yep.
Good. That's what I was kind of wondering as you were going through that. It's like, I got to make sure I ask that question.
Yep.
Okay. So we were headed to where now? I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to show you the self-service booking side, what we call multi-step booking.
Okay.
And so this is kind of like once you have your packages, services, package groups set up, you can kind of see how it, will come in, and you basically just guide the person through what they might want to order, like a self-service or full service. Maybe I'm interested in self-service and I only have one package, or maybe I'm interested in full service and I've got several packages. Here I'm hiding the price. We have an option, but you can, typically you'll show the price here, but they can choose the package, that type of thing. I'm a fan of showing prices before collecting lead data, because I think probably people who have quote unquote junk leads, they're probably most likely leads that can't afford the service.
Yeah, I would.
And I think that's probably the vast majority. And so you can cut out all your junk leads, or most of them, by basically, filtering out based on price. But over here, you can go through and start the booking process.
But that's something you can choose to have or not to have.
It's a setting, yeah. And I understand. I think like if I was offering a new service and I was the first in my area to do it, and I don't know what the price is going to be, it might be helpful to collect some, you don't want to scare people off, so to speak. So I could totally understand why somebody would want to. But after we have the lead information, you'll see they can start seeing the price and booking it out. And so pretty straightforward. Looks like we can't do that date. We'll go over here. They can select a backdrop during the booking process, put in the address. And so once they put the address in, that's going to do things like calculate travel fees if you offer travel fees. So we have robust features on that front. And again, if you're doing proposals, a lot of these same features come into play, basically, because you're putting in the address, you can automatically calculate travel fees, that type of thing.
Well, the system, Judd, will the system also keep track? So let's say that we book our photo booth. We have a purple photo booth. Somebody comes through and they self-book, or they book it that tonight. Now, does it then in the system basically then make it so that purple photo booth isn't available on that date and it's basically locked up? Or is it something that you have to go in there and manually remove it from the inventory for the day?
Let me show you how that works right now. So currently, the way that there are some mechanisms in place from being overcommitted, basically. And so you can put it at this service level, and there's I click that setting, there's availability, and I could say, yes, it does. How many on a single day can I book for this service? So in some ways, yes. It's not necessarily, we have had some people who have a slew of booths who are not a good fit for Check Cherry because this will not work for them. And it's funny because both Matt and I thought like a really in-depth inventory system was going to be very soon a top priority on the development list. And it's surprising how infrequently it does come up, and so something will come in the future where it's, as you're saying, like, hey, I have a purple booth, a green booth, a red booth, and they're all under the same service, so to speak, that they could then be aware that it's booked out, so to speak.
Sure.
Another thing that Check Cherry doesn't do right now is, like, we've had people that want to do, it's rare, a morning event, an afternoon event, or an evening event. And so it's not smart enough. It's just per day right now. So that would be a limitation, but certainly something that, I think is reasonable to expect from something like Check Cherry.
The morning and afternoon, it would be a difficult.
I had a guy in the Bay Area because there's a lot of corporate stuff up there with the tech companies, and it was really important to him.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah, corporate stuff. Afternoon, and then of course doing a wedding that evening, but definitely. We've talked a lot about the photo booth and shown some things with that. Let's just take a quick little jump to with the DJ side now. Putting proposals together will be just about the same. Putting all that together, and the communication would be the same. Now, are there additional tools for them to be able to do more with the system?
So I would say with DJs, what we see is they'll use the form builder feature. So this is your classic, like, I need to build various, questionnaires for my customers to answer, names and, all this timelines. I've even seen people use it for. So I think this is people in photo booth also use this.
Sure.
But this is much more used on the DJ side. And then you can also, we also do have a Spotify integration, which I think, we launch with something like this. And the nice thing is you can just basically allow your customer to use, you pop in a playlist URL, and it'll import exactly, whatever they have over on Spotify. And then it's nice because then the customer can use their own Spotify's great UI and library to build out, a playlist, so to speak, which is nice. So I think that, the client likes it. I mean, that's something with Check Cherry that's, I think, important is like we really value the client experience, just all around, with the software. Important to us.
Excellent. Well,
and then,
more forms there. Okay.
And then one more thing here. So when you have a booking, there'll be things like these tabs right here. And so like the invoices, again, those are automatically generated and updated. Here's the messages, so you can see what has happened. We have threaded and unthreaded views, whether they've opened, who it was sent to. I don't know how well you can see that or not.
Yeah, it's a little small. When they'll if they're watching it full screen on the 1080p, they'll get to see.
Right.
It'll work. Yeah.
But we'll track like what if somebody, these have been dropped because they're getting sent to example.com. But if, this was opened or if a link was clicked, that type of thing. So there's some tracking in there, which is nice. And then there's also, this process of like selecting, photo booth templates, and choosing them and that type of thing. And you can upload your own templates. We integrate with photoboothtemplates.com and Photo Booth Talk, the VIP club memberships. Those are easy. And then here's where the forms. This is basically what the client would see. Another cool feature that we offer is the ability to impersonate the customer. So now here I am as an admin and I've just logged in and this is what the customer would see basically.
Okay.
And so then you can really get an idea when you're navigating with them or talking, through what's happening, what they would see. And I can then switch back to my admin account. That's a new recent feature.
Nice.
It was a pain point for several people what does my customer really see?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, I could log in as them, but then I don't have their password. So, fun.
Yeah.
Great stuff. We need to wrap things up here. Our time went very, very quickly tonight, Judd.
Right. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah. If you want to stop the share there, and then we'll wrap up. Judd, you'll be in February. We will see you there. If people are looking at and have questions and would like to, check it out more, what's the best way for them to do that right now?
So you can go to checkcherry.com. There's a 30-day free trial. Feel free to sign up. There's also an option to get a demo. So we'd be happy to give you a demo and walk through things, answer any specific questions. Our demos are less of like a sales pitch and kind of a dog and pony show, more really like, what are your specific questions and concerns? Let's make sure it's a fit. We're really interested in finding people who are a good fit for the service right now as it stands. Right. Yeah. So we have no interest in kind of trying to get people on that it doesn't work for, right? Like that's totally, it's okay, and we're just looking for the right fits.
Yeah, sounds great. Again, checkcherry.com. You guys can go out and check that out or come and see us in February. We'll be in Las Vegas. Go to pbntv.com/tickets, PBX Show 2020, and get those tickets, and we'll see you then. Judd, thanks for being on tonight.
John, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for watching. Good night, everybody.
Okay, bye.